Most people believe that the American dream is withering away and only available to a select few. And they're correct. But there is a hidden cause that few are aware of that renders American capitalism itself a myth. 71% of us believe that the economic system is rigged. And both Donald Trump on the right and Bernie Sanders on the left gained ardent support in the 2016 elections with this claim. America has gone from an open, competitive marketplace to an economy where very few powerful companies dominate key industries that affect our daily lives. 2 corporations control 90% of the beer Americans drink. 4 airlines dominate all air traffic. 5 banks control over half of the nation's banking assets. Google controls over 90% of online searches. And Facebook has more than 70% of all social networking traffic. Competition is dying in the United States, and capitalism without competition is not capitalism. It is happening across most of the economy, from birth to death, from hospitals to funeral services, and in nearly all industries. We have the illusion of choice, but for most critical decisions, we only have 1 or 2 companies.
You 7 minutes late, bro.
Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm the timekeeper.
Next week, the clocks jump forward. They spring forward.
Fucking time.
Dang, do they?
Yep. Next Sunday, they spring forward. So be on time.
Already?
Oh, then I might not be here next Sunday.
Don't be on that. Don't be on that CPT. Already?
Damn, that's next week? Man.
Yeah.
That might fuck me up a little bit.
Yeah, man. The spring equinox is on its way, my dude.
That's disappointing. Shoot, I'm about to be slated for that vaccine. They're gonna start opening up for us on the 15th, man.
Yeah, I saw that too. Next Saturday. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I saw that.
You getting that Johnson & Johnson? That's what they giving teachers?
I'm gonna get whichever one they give to me.
Okay.
Honestly, I think I'm gonna go with the Johnson. I think I'm gonna go with the Johnson & Johnson, get the 1 shot, because my understanding is, from what a couple EMTs I've been speaking to, is like, yo, if you had COVID within the last, 3 months or so, they don't want you to take the shot, the 2 shots, because essentially the first shot is supposed to be exposing you to it a little bit, and then the second shot is supposed to make you inoculated. And the whole thing is, if you're exposed to COVID and you have the antibodies, then it'll fight off the first shot, So, so the whole thing is that, I might wait out. I might hold out for that Johnson & Johnson, that 1 shot.
Well, it got approved, didn't it?
Yes,
it's got approved. It's just a matter of who has. When it's available to you, and when who has it.
When you get called and when it's available, that's 2 different things. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I like the one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Not having to go back more than once.
Oh, now y'all on that one-stop shop.
I mean, look, listen, I'm gonna do whichever one they give it to me. I'm gonna do whichever one they offer.
I mean, listen, everybody I know that's had the first and the second shot has been all right. That's including old people I know, younger people I know.
Mm-hmm.
At most,
my uncle got it.
At most, everybody I've heard that's gotten sick or didn't feel well was like they were down for 1 day. The next day, they're back on their feet. So I'm good with that.
Yeah. My uncle got both shots. My mama's going in for a second one tomorrow.
Because I'll tell you right now.
Smith, your mom's got her shots yet?
No, she's going next week.
After 3 weeks of COVID and give me a second, fellas. What's up, sibling?
Smith.
Yeah.
If you was high risk, would you take the vaccine?
If I was high risk?
Mm-hmm.
I am high risk.
Right, because you're a black man in America?
I didn't realize. No.
Yeah,
this is bitch.
Exactly.
I didn't realize bitch assness makes you high risk, bro.
No, blackness makes you high risk, dumbass. You didn't know that it's more prone in black and brown people, the black and the Latinx community, no?
Yeah, they push it. Yo, did you see the cartoon advertisement they try to get black people to really encourage black people to get the vaccination shot. I'm like, yeah, they're pressing hard, bruh.
What up?
Yeah,
Say
that
what?
shit was like, it's
Cartoon.
the WB.
Yeah, because historically, black people have always been, and for rightful reason, skeptical of the medical industry.
So now they made what?
Yeah.
They made a Fat Albert cartoon in order to
They
get
had
us on board.
one of the guys from Run DMC. He did a cartoon animation, some musical shit to try to get black people involved. And I was watching some shit on Vice News where this doctor talking about getting the vaccines for black people is similar to getting reparation.
What? Say that again?
Just like what?
Yo,
my
there
brain
was this
just
doctor.
froze.
You guys know Vice
Yeah,
News,
I didn't
right?
process that exactly.
Yes, this dude basically came out his mouth and said, "Yo, making sure black people get the vaccination shot is similar to getting reparation."
Like making sure that we're the first ones who get it?
Pretty much.
Please tell me that he was black.
He was light skinned, but I consider him black.
Okay, all right.
Like he was really light skinned, like almost borderline. I wasn't sure, but
I was like, yeah, that's a borderline. Like,
it's still bro. It's still some bullshit.
Ben Simmons light skin?
Yeah.
Like Ben Simmons?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's still some bullshit. I don't give a fuck if
it is some bullshit.
Dark as fucking.
It's some bullshit to say some shit like that. It is
That's
some bullshit to say some shit like that.
Yeah, that
but
is.
Just like, I get his point of what he's trying to say, but yeah, that was suspect.
I don't get his point.
I don't get it, bro.
His point is just to say that it's a good thing for black folks, or But I get that point, but the way he delivered it was real cringy.
Poor Cash. If you was high risk, would you take the shot?
If I was high risk, would I take the shot? I don't know, bro. I'm reluctant. I'm trying to hold out as long as possible until my employer says, "Yeah, you got to get."
But you're not high risk though.
Yeah,
yes, he is.
Cat Smith, get out of here with that. I'm a black man.
I'm not. It's not because he's a black man. They said he's high risk because why is he high risk, Mr. Henry? Come on, brother. You know this.
Because black people are more prone to disease, bro.
If you look at the science of what they say,
that's what they're trying to get at, bro.
This is what they say.
Yeah, I said it, but I wasn't joking because there's been several articles that have been trying to run with that storyline. This is why black people.
Wait. He's high risk because he's black. Like he's high risk.
So then if that's the case, then why, when I signed up for the vaccine and I put my race, they told me I didn't qualify?
Because they didn't care about that.
I don't know. I don't know what y'all read, but the whole thing is, if they're saying black people are more high risk because black people are the number one with heart attack, stroke, diabetes, prostate cancer, and all the other things that black folks, are susceptible to because of poor health conditions and poor diet and lifestyle choices, then I kind of understand what they're going with that.
Yeah,
I kind of understand where they're going with that.
Yeah, but
the truth is in the black community,
they should just run with the narrative of health rather than your narrative of race.
Exactly.
But just because you have
narrative of poor health,
just because you're more likely
making it you like that, yeah.
But that, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me.
Just because what?
Yeah, hold on, time out. Why is Black Susan Smith not cammed up? Kel about to say something. Cam up,
not bad.
I was gonna give him the 920. I was gonna give him the 920.
Yeah,
bro.
First of all, he told me I had a certain time limit. Second of all, I was getting my hoodie together.
Nah, bro, I didn't say a certain time limit. I said you was late.
You said I had a time limit. I was getting my hoodie.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. Just because you have a better chance of getting a disease, that means that you're high risk before you even get it.
Well,
no.
Well,
not just that you're at high risk for getting it. It's what I'm saying is the fact
you're
of
more successful.
If more of your population has all the pre-issues, whatever, like you're diabetic, you're this, that, and the other, then more of your people are the ones that need to be getting the shot.
So what he's saying is,
population-wise,
when the Pilgrims came over here and fucked over the Indians, all the Indians was high risk.
Yeah, I don't know.
Think about it, motherfucker.
I guess so. That's like, I don't know.
That's not what I'm saying, but okay.
That is what you say.
But that still don't make.
What I'm saying is,
because it's like saying if you're
exactly.
To me, this is the way that I interpret it. Okay, you're more likely to get a cold, so you should start taking cold medicine even though you're not sick.
No, that's not what I'm saying. You're not hearing what I'm saying. Let me repeat it. Let's say there's 10 of us.
Okay.
Out of 10 of us, 8 of us say there's 10 black people, 10 Chinese people, 10 white people, right? Out the 10 black people, a majority of them are diabetic, heart condition, stroke, this, that, and the other.
I get
have
that.
medical conditions. All right. They're
considered high risk.
They're considered high risk because of the fact that if they get COVID, it'll be a lot worse for them than the Chinese people.
So listen to me, Shub. I get that part. So now I asked Smith if he was high risk, and Cash, if he was high risk, would you get the shot? And they said, I am high risk.
Oh, see? Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. You understood what I was saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So
now,
you
we
understood
all
what I was saying.
understand the science.
All right.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
we understand the science. I'm just going based on how the media has constantly targeted black people as though
being portrayed.
Yeah, how's it being portrayed as though we're the one who's constantly being in contact of getting COVID.
Well, here's the other aspect of it. 2 parts, right? Part 1 is the fact of, can you really trust anything the media says? The media doesn't say anything positive about black folks. Never has, never will. That's 1. And then 2 is the fact of, if you look at the reality, take in consideration is the fact of, in Essex County, if you look at, who is higher with the diabetes and everything else, like said, the ailments and everything. And then on top of that, who has the highest rates of COVID, because we're living in smaller spaces and we're on top of each other at bus stops, at the store.
And I think that's the last part that's often missed when we talk about it. It's just like, when they talk about black communities, the one thing they fail to always mention is that sort of density issue. It's just like, it's not because black people are more susceptible to getting COVID. It's just that, we live on top of each other. We're not spread out like how people in Texas are and people in Florida are. So it's just like the narrative that they constantly go with, man. It's
not even just Florida and Texas. Just look at it. If you look the difference. So if you look at the difference over in, let's say, brain fart words. If you look at the difference in population in, let's say, Montclair. Look on Maple Street. Look on New Street. Look on Pine Street. Look how dense everyone is living close together on one top of each other. Versus if you look at Upper Montclair and look on that side of the street, and it's the same town, right? Mm-hmm. And see how people are spread out. People got space amongst them, and bigger homes and so forth and so on. Those things make a difference.
Yeah, but they never run with that storyline. They never.
Of course
really...
not, because people don't care about details. People only care about headlines.
Hey, and this is the problem, Black Zeus. You hit it right on the head. You said, when could you trust the media? So this is the problem that black folks have with taking this fucking vaccine. You hit it right on the head. When can you trust the media? When can they trust the doctors? So you have a lot of folks that are still on the fence. You have a lot of people that are still apprehensive. You have a lot of people that's still going to be like Cash and say, well, I'm going to try to hold out as long as possible and, and see. If they said that basically by, what is it supposed to be, Cash, May?
Yeah, the end of May. That's what Dr. Fauci and Biden said.
By May?
By May.
Have it?
Yeah.
So
my whole thing is this, right? The whole thing is the fact of, yes, I totally agree with you. But the whole thing is black folks still need to make sure that they're trying their best to be objective and as informed as possible and get as much detail as possible and actually speak to people that are qualified in the area of whatever bit of knowledge that they're looking for, instead of talking to, homeboy up the street.
But here's the thing, Shu. The thing is, when we talk about listening to qualified experts, who are those qualified experts? Because are we just hearing from one voice, which is Dr. Fauci, or are we listening to a multitude of people in the sector? Because from what I constantly see, and this is one of the news segment, is it's always Dr. Fauci speaking. But when you expand your reading and expand your research, like for instance, they were talking about double masking, right? So you got Fauci talking about, 1 minute he said mask doesn't work. Now he's saying, we got a double mask. The contradiction in that is something else. So now you got Governor Gavin Newsom. I was reading something from Reuters out in Japan that they ran the story was out in Japan. Uh, a leading group of scientists ran a supercomputer simulation that basically said double masking doesn't even work. It doesn't even protect against the virus. And there's even questions as to a single mask, if it's not a surgical mask, doesn't even work. So now you got a whole group of doctors overseas saying something completely contradictory to what U.S. doctors are saying, but you don't get that information. So this is what makes it all confusing. So like you get one voice that's and that's the problem I've been having with all of this. It's just like Dr. Fauci has been the one voice, and there's been no other doctors.
Well, let's get into that news story, man.
That one voice. Great fucking book, bruh. That one voice makes it like this is a fucking capital fucking hoax.
Exactly, but bruh, I could go down that voice. That one voice.
Well, here's the thing. In any medical area, whatever the case is, you're always given the advice: get a second opinion before you go and have surgery, before you go and, try this medication. Always get a second opinion, because the fact of not everyone has all the answers. Not everyone has all the research. Dr. Fauci is like Dr. Oz. It's like, that is your, almost your media or entertainment doctor. I've spoken to actual doctors who've actually read the studies, who have looked at what's happening in Israel with them trying out the shot, this, that, and the other. So, the whole thing is, and mind you, not everybody has the same network that I have, but, we all have like our own primary doctor for the most part, and this, that, and the other, or someone that we may know in medical or this, that, and the other, that you can speak to. So the whole thing is get that information from them, because that is their profession, and they're the ones that are better qualified to read the studies and have a better understanding of what they're reading and what they're consuming information. Because especially now, where that information is very vital to themselves as well, because they are right on the front lines. They want to know that information as well to protect themselves. They're not just going with Dr. Fauci on whatever they see on TV. You see what I'm saying? So that's where it's like,
Fauci, four different
Fauci, whatever.
Fauci and Fauci.
Whatever.
But the problem is, what if your doctor has a difference of opinion than what the CDC and Dr. Fauci are saying? Because that's, I shared a video early on when this whole pandemic first hit. There was 2 doctors out in California, and they were saying like, and one was a virologist, and he was just saying the extremes that we're going to in regards of trying to curb down the flatten the curve is extreme. Not for this particular virus, that is, because he doesn't according to their studies that they show, it's like this virus doesn't necessarily lend itself to the measures that we've taken to sort of flatten the curve. So it's just like, you could, but what if I'm just saying this because what if your doctor say something completely different?
Well, that's the chance you take.
But the
reality is that we're looking for these perfect answers in an environment that we are adapting to as we go along. So imagine you going trekking through the woods and everything. Maybe in those woods there are bears, there are snakes, there are hornets and this, that, and the other. The whole thing is you may be aware of these dangers, but you don't know at what point you're going to face these dangers, what the environment's going to be when you face these dangers. Like you might be facing this danger, like you're trying to run away from a bear, but there's rocks and gravel in your way. You might be trying to get over a snake, past hornets and everything, but there's no water to submerge yourself in. You see what I'm saying? And the whole thing is we're adapting to the situation as we come along with the dangers, and to expect perfection in all of the answers as we're all on this hike together is unrealistic. It's unrealistic.
I get that, but it just always seems that you have one leading voice, and that's the only voice that you're constantly hearing. That's the problem.
This is true. But the whole thing is that's the problem. But that's just the way people are. If they find this one voice, they automatically think that one voice is the God of it all. It's the same way, that's why I said the Dr. Oz thing. I've seen people, they be like, oh, Dr. Oz said, Dr. Oz. I'm like, Dr. Oz is a surgeon. That is not his area of expertise. Why are you always going to Dr. Oz for things that's not his area of expertise?
Even if that was his area of expertise, you could still have someone who might see something differently.
Exactly.
Because you're in the fitness industry. Your approach
Right.
to fitness is completely different than someone else's
Somebody
approach to
else's
fitness.
approach of fitness. Yeah, somebody else might be, if you come across me and you come across like a bodybuilder, their approach is going to be like, no, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, nothing but brown rice and, chicken breast. And I'm like, nah, dog, we all going to die one day. You don't need to eat nothing but brown rice and chicken. Have some ice cream. Just don't fucking eat a bucket of ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, so
Doc, I
there's
have
going
that
to be,
box of Dominoes for lunch later.
but the whole thing is, it's like, it's a matter of taking that. And the sad thing is, most of us don't have an understanding of science and have an understanding of health and fitness or any of those areas well enough in order for us to make objective and smart decisions based on what information we're being given. So it's a minefield is what it is. It's a minefield.
It is a minefield. Speaking of minefields, let's get into the news because it's been an interesting week. We're gonna stick with the COVID. So, what was it? Wednesday, Governor Abbott of Texas announced that they are fully opening up. Essentially saying that he doesn't necessarily feel that he has the right to restrict people's liberties. Shortly after, you have Mississippi, and just this past Thursday, you have the governor of Connecticut, Ned Lamont, saying that Connecticut is going to be fully opening up, basically lifting all restrictions. There's going to be full capacity for sports, entertainments, and restaurants. So just wanted to get overall thoughts in regards to states basically not having everyone fully vaccinated yet, but yet you have states saying like, "Oh, we're opening up." And the University of Alabama saying, "Yeah, they're going to allow all students come in at full capacity."
Well, I'm a little surprised by Connecticut because is Connecticut Republican or Democrat?
Nah, that's a Democratic state, man. That's what was. I knew that was going to happen, but he said that, in all honesty, when I was reading into it, that it came down to the budget, and he's probably looking at the budget like, saying like the revenues are, not coming in. So I think that's his angle. I couldn't get an exact quote surrounding that, but I could only assume that's what it is. Because even Governor Murphy, while he didn't open up full capacity, he says, by the end of April, he's hoping to at least lift the vast majority of restrictions.
Well, I think a lot of it. I think whoever was frequenting the restaurants and events, they're gonna continue to. Whoever wasn't, probably isn't. I mean, that goes along with what I think Smith said it. By the end of May, they're trying to have everybody vaccinated. So if they opened up in New Jersey, I'm still not going full force, into whatever place until I get that vaccine. Once I get that vaccine, I'll probably roll up in the spot. But I mean,
but what Cash was saying earlier, as your lead doctor said, even once you have the vaccine, you can't go back to normal if you following what your lead doctor is saying. I think that is bullshit. I think that people are still being selfish as hell. I don't mind the whole fact of opening back up things, but to do away with social distancing and mask mandates prior to getting more than, we only have 10% of the population. I think it was 8.5 when I last looked at it Friday.
That's vaccinated, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it went up to 10 now. Maybe it was another percentage point or something. But I don't think there's been enough people that have been vaccinated. They talk about herd immunity and all that shit. But I think that is too soon, too fast. I think if you're already at that finish line, you don't start fumbling the ball right now. I don't think you fumble the ball right now.
Oh, you don't pull up Pete Carroll with the Seattle Seahawks and not give Marshawn Lynch the ball?
Yeah, you don't give Marshawn the ball, and you don't look back. You keep running. You don't look back at the 99-yard line, and you fumble that shit on the 1-yard line. Like where the help is here. People. You have people that are willing to get vaccinated. If Trump would have just been a little more open and got himself vaccinated, you might have a lot more people to be willing to get vaccinated from the other side as well. Because it's not just a black thing that people don't want to get vaccinated. There are other races that are scared of shit too.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get it twisted. So I think that they're just moving too fast. I think they just need to pause for a second. 2 more months would not fucking hurt you. Hold it down for a second and try to be open by summer. That's what I say.
I think that's a good one too. I don't even understand why they were open. Well, I guess Texas, Mississippi makes sense
because it's spring break, bro. That's why.
Yeah, I'm about to say because of the weather.
Money time.
That's my whole entire talking point, Smith. It comes down to the money.
Yeah,
because Connecticut don't make no sense. Like, I guess it does still make sense too because they open it up indoors.
Yo, they even lifted restrictions on traveling. Before they had like quarantine restrictions. So like if you were coming from another state, you had to be quarantined. They was like F all that. They did away with that. And like Smith said,
listen,
it comes down to the money, bro. They looked at their budget. They see how hard people were hitting. They're not trying to pay any more employment. That's what it is.
And you said it's about to be daylight savings time. It's supposed to be 60 degrees this week. They trying to open up shit. People about to go out.
Yeah.
They just passed the stimulus bill. People about to get their little money. They trying to open up shit.
Yeah, it's strategic.
And
that's
then
what it is.
People, like I said, you can open up. I think you should still have them social measures in place. That's all.
Yeah,
what you got on this, Black Zeus?
I think you should have those in place until further notice. That's all.
States just opening up. What you got?
Honestly, I hear everything y'all saying, and I agree. I think that the main reason why they're doing it is for the financial reasons.
Yeah.
But personally, for me, my reaction is I'm glad it ain't near me. So I'd like to see. It's gonna sound selfish and fucked up, but I want to see how things are gonna turn out with those other states. Like if the numbers are gonna go up, if there's going to be issues and this, that, and the other, let them be on the front line and catch all the bullets, so that's how I feel about that. And as far as them opening up and everything like that, I don't know. I concur with Smith. Like you're this close, a few months more, taking vaccines, taking shots, this, that, and the other, and possibly eradicate this situation or at least minimize it to a point where it becomes as novel as, the flu. I don't see what the harm is, but I guess, at the end of the day, must be the money.
So what we think about the new variant, coronavirus that is out here, and now people are contracting that, and this the current vaccinations are out there doesn't, there isn't a remedy for that new variant. So do we remain closed for that, for the new vaccination to remedy that situation?
So here's the thing, right? And this was bound to happen with this COVID thing, much like the flu. Every year, you get the 2016 flu, the 2017 flu,
and this is a new COVID. COVID's been out for a minute.
And this is a new COVID. Yeah. Every year you get a new COVID. It's now COVID. We're still dealing with COVID-19. It's COVID 2021. You know what I mean? And the whole thing is that people don't understand that vaccination and this is not going to make you impervious to just everything. You know. Like, you got to realize the way that these things cycle is that if we were all on a train and the COVID cycle went through A, B, C, D, E, F, G, by the time it circles back through, X, Y, Z, it's a new thing back at A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's not like it's the same thing coming back at you. It's a whole new
So
and
the question
COVID.
is, do you remain closed for the vaccinations for that? Because that's how people in Texas, people in Mississippi, people in Connecticut, people in Alabama, they're all looking at it as just like, if this is going to be here to stay, and they're looking at the studies and they're seeing like, okay, well, what are the death mortality rates? Who are the people who are making up the death mortality rates? And they're seeing like, look, yes, there will be casualty, but we got to move forward. So it's just like, if we're taking this approach that COVID is here to stay and there's always going to be a new variant of the coronavirus, then why not open up?
Well, I would say open up, but even if you open up, you would still for a long while would have to, do your best to maintain the guidelines of staying 6 feet apart and wearing the mask and taking the shots until you get some sort of headway on this. Because the thing is the fact of, with the flu and everything, we have headway on it. The whole thing is, it's like, but before
But not everyone gets the flu shot though.
Yeah,
and
but
not everyone's socially distanced, and not everyone wears a mask with that. And people,
yeah, but the whole thing is the fact of the flu shot has been contained. So, I mean, the flu has been contained so well, and we've been able to find everything from what are you talking about, getting a flu shot or getting flu medicine, Theraflu. You know what I mean? It is very common that we have medication and treatment for these things. But the whole thing is the COVID is not, we don't have as many resources.
Okay. This nigga calling it the COVID. This nigga, they don't even have, and the flu.
Now, Schubert said it well. They don't have like Theraflu or nothing like that equivalent to the coronavirus outside of the shot.
And the flu also, it also isn't as contagious.
The flu is contagious.
No, it's not as contagious as COVID.
It's not as
you don't catch it as,
It's not as contagious as COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still contagious though. Like,
but if you have the flu and we all in the same, you might not get that shit, right?
If you're in the room and you're in close proximity to someone, you can still catch the.
I said we might not get it, but with COVID shit, it's like more than
you getting that shit.
but then it's just like, all right, I could get COVID, and this is the confusing thing about the COVID symptoms is I could have the antibodies where it's just like I just have COVID, and I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's not the average person though.
We don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't know that. That's what I'm saying. This whole thing, and this is where the confusion in the science has been. This has been the confusion in the messaging that's been.
There's no confusion in this. There's no confusion in the fact that there are going to be a lot more people that's going to lose their life behind this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no confusion. They are like you said, you can open up things. I'm not against opening. I get it. You got to get back. I understand all that. But to do away with all of the guidelines that you put in place at the end of the day, they're still wearing masks in China, but they always wear masks in China. I know that too.
Yeah, they've been wearing masks in China since SARS came out.
Yeah, but it's like you're gonna just do away with everything. You know what I mean? Like
that don't make no sense for nothing, right?
Like you was in the gym putting all this work in, and now you're just gonna throw all that away. You just
for a box of donuts. I feel you.
Like,
Smith, I'm with you on that one.
I get it. Like, look, I see both sides of the argument.
Are they cream donuts?
Yeah, look, man. I throw a diet out real quick if you get the right type of donuts. I just see both sides of the argument. Like, I don't necessarily have a strong stance in either direction. It's just something that, it's just going to be interesting to see it all play out. But like what you said, Smith, this was all a financial play. At the end of the day, when I was reading, particularly when I was reading Murphy talk about the 2021-2022 fiscal budget, and he started lifting restriction. I was like, you ain't slick, bro. I'm like, yo, most of the New Jersey is not vaccinated, and you already increasing capacity. It's just like, yo, this is a money play, and states are looking. You know what it is? The states are not trying to pay unemployment anymore. They're tapped out. And they're saying like, yo, we got to open shit back up because they don't have the funds to constantly pay unemployment. This is it. This stimulus is not enough. And they realize that we got to get America back and rolling. And
especially the people that's making more money on unemployment than they were making at their real job.
Exactly.
I am glad that Murphy figured it out and he's not raising taxes and shit though.
Yeah.
I did follow that budget. And like he said, y'all get this marijuana popping, y'all ain't got to worry about nothing.
Well, we do got to talk about that's a different topic. All right, let's move on to something else.
Yeah, you have money coming in.
You have money coming in, but I don't like how high that tax rate is on the marijuana, bro. Bro, this is how you still gonna have a black
on smoking?
It's like 10, it's in a double digit. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it like 10% or 15%? It's something high, bro. And I'm like, yo, people going to still engage in the black market with some high ass tax rate like that. It's high as shit.
Yeah, black market's never gonna go away.
Yeah.
See, I don't even know how you regulate that. Yeah. How do you know if you bought some weed from the black market or from a legitimate source?
You don't.
That's what I'm saying.
Shit. Trying to fuck with you.
All right, let's get into
Let's
the book.
afterwards.
This is my book for this
Kind of
go around, which is The Myth of Capitalism: How Monopolies and the Death of Competition, written by Jonathan Tepper and Denise Hearn. Essentially, the book is about how America has gone from an open, competitive marketplace to an economy where very few powerful companies dominate key industries that affect our daily lives. So we have quite a few questions. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the first 4 chapters. One of my biggest concerns is, especially when you get into like books like this, is a lot of economic terms that if you that could go over people's head. But I found that the book was relatively easy to go through. So I hope everyone else feel likewise at this point.
I just learned a new word, oligarchy. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Something new today.
Yeah, I learned
so.
I hope I'm saying that right. Or oligarchy.
No, oligarchy. You're saying it right.
You said it right.
Yeah. So we're gonna start off. Let's start off with Black Zeus. So when considering the fallacy of competition, should employers was it supposed to be competition or composition? You have composition. Composition.
Sorry.
The fallacy of composition. Should employers have an obligation to provide pay and benefits to their employees in accordance with the company's success? If so, shouldn't it be the same obligation for employees to take losses if the company takes losses? When answering this question, ask yourself, would you work for such a company?
So just to put in context, the fallacy of composition is that just what's good for one is not good for all. So as used in the book, it said that if you're at a football game, one person stands up to look over the crowd to see the game, they'll get a better view. But if everybody stands up, it doesn't work out for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So
you know what?
I
like that. I like that
better.
idea. No, well, I like the idea of taking a job, taking the less pay if your job isn't performing as well, because it normally just turns into they do job cuts. It's just like, we just gonna fire a certain amount of people.
Well, let Shu finish his like Shu was going into the context of the question.
So the whole thing is being a business owner, and I understand how business works, this, that, and the other. And I like to use an example. The Twinkie company had always been doing great, this, that, and the other. And a number of years ago, everyone's now more health conscious. People aren't feeding their kids Twinkies for lunch or for snacks, this, that, and the other. Twinkies has taken a downfall. So the Twinkie factory has taken a downfall. They're like, listen, we can't afford to keep everybody, on board and stuff. We're making some profits, but we can't afford to keep everybody on board. If some people walk away, we can give them, a severance package and keep other people employed. But, but because of the unions, everyone's like, nope, we all want a raise or nobody gets a raise. So guess what? The factory ended up shutting down and nobody had a job. So the whole thing is the fact of like, a lot of complaints are that when companies hire people, they're not paying them a living wage and this, that, and the other, and the company's doing better and X, Y, and Z. And yeah, people look at when the company's doing better, it's like, oh, I should be getting paid more because the company's getting paid more. Okay, but you don't say that when the company's getting paid less. So the question is, should companies be obligated to pay you more when they make more? And should you be obligated to take less when the companies are making less, so that way it stays in this perfect balance? And would you work with that? Would you live with that? Would you be okay with that? Go ahead, Kel.
So I'm gonna say, yeah. The only tricky part with that is like, I would want my company to sort of divulge, their earnings and losses, just to make sure that I'm not being cheated. But
most companies have to report their annual quarterly earnings.
Yeah. So now I wouldn't have a problem with it. I just wouldn't have a problem with it because, like I said, when it's time for them, once they take the loss, like they don't even give the option like, all right, so either everybody could take a pay cut or we could fire certain people and other people can continue to make the same amount. So if it's established at the beginning, like, look, this is how it's going to go, but everybody's job is going to be secure as long as you're completing the job effectively. I think most people would agree to that.
You think so?
Man,
I think they agree.
I think so.
I don't think most people would agree with that.
Repeat that, Smith. I didn't hear that.
I said they would agree until it actually happens to them. I don't think most people would agree with that.
True story.
Yeah, it sounds good in theory, but when you put it into practice, that's going to change the whole game.
Yeah. True story.
I mean, if they do it the right way, where not like, okay, well, you know what, guys, we had a down month, so in 2 weeks, your pay is going to be less, as opposed to, guys, all right, we had a down year, so in 2 months or at the end of this year, like, you give enough heads up. I know that it's, for me, I don't know if that for me sounds a lot less scary than, all right, guys, at the end of this month, we're going to be doing pay cuts. I mean, yeah, we're doing cuts, job cuts, and there's a chance that 30% of you could be gone. It's like, yo, that sounds a lot less scary to me.
But that sounds scary to you because you're thinking that most people are team players. Most people ain't going to give a fuck. If it's going to be 30% cut, then let's see my performance versus your performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, so then that can even take it a step further, Schubert, where you sort of treat it like the athletes. I'm paying you based off of your performance. Like you ain't like why am I paying everybody the same amount of money when this dude's bringing in more money for my company than the next dude? That isn't how that is already in corporate America, though, Cash. Like they can't do that. They can't pay you based off your performance.
Nah, yeah, you have aspects of corporate America. It depends on what field in corporate America.
Depends on what field you're in.
Yeah, like where
they
you
have
do
performance pay, but not a lot of people don't do.
Yeah, like you have performance pays, you have base pay, you have base pay with performance, commissions pay, on top of that.
Look at performance pay like this, Henry. A waitress gets a base pay who works at a bar.
Yeah.
Her performance pay is based. She gets tips and shit.
Correct.
So you can't come in and be like, yo, last year I made your company this much money. I want to renegotiate how much I'm getting paid.
No.
You got asked for a raise in that situation, but your commissions are your commissions. Your commissions are typically set.
Yeah, well, you know what though? Yeah, that makes
one particular field, Henry, because you jumping around.
So,
well, here's my thing. Where, like, for me, like, to answer the question, if a company, like, sticking to the concept of this book, and when you're talking about employers and big companies, like, some of them is disingenuous things that I see with these big companies, and when they talk about bad performance and stuff like that, is what I don't see happen the significant amount of time is you don't have the executives taking pay cuts. You don't have the executives slashing their benefits.
Mm-hmm.
The burden is always placed on the employees on the foundation. Like, all right, well, we got to change your 401k. We might not be able to match your 401k this time around. Or, we got to reevaluate the health benefits and stuff like that. And I look at, one example, Jamie Dimon. During bad years of the company, bad years of the economy, Jamie Dimon still pulled in $33 million annually. He is making well over 1,000 more percent than the median average pay of his employees. So when I see stuff like this, and hopefully this book gets into it, because I agree. If you're a small mom and pop or you're a middle tier company and you're not doing well, I think you're going to get employees of those middle tier, smaller companies where you have employees that's going to understand. Yeah, absolutely. If the company's not doing well, I'm going to expect a pay cut. Mm-hmm. But when you a large oligarch, as Kelvin newly discovered word, no one's trying to hear that shit. Honestly, you're raking in billions of dollars. Yeah. And we could get into later aspects of how these companies manage to acquire their wealth. It's just like, I'm not trying to hear that based on what the CEO is pulling.
But if that's the case, then why do they do job cuts?
$22 billion and he's still worth like $158 billion. So it's like your frame of reference ain't nothing where mine at.
Exactly. I think it all depends on the size of the company.
Yeah.
So then why do they do the job cuts?
Well, let me ask this. Is it really the size of the company or the value that you bring to the company?
I think it's
Because
a combination.
Jamie Dimon, what he brings to Chase versus what a teller.
False. Jamie Dimon. I'm just saying that with Jamie Dimon, he doesn't make those decisions, especially when you really boil down to like how these large corporations operate. These CEOs are just the face of the company, but they don't make the decision by themselves. There's an executive board. So like if you go to like,
I understand that, but they still have a weight sitting on their shoulder of how to lead this company. True or false?
But they have
false.
But they have a facade of a weight, meaning, if the company goes bad, one of the terms that was recently, and this is why I picked this book, right? So like, one of the things that you quickly find out when companies are doing bad, CEOs, when they get outed, they're what they're given is called a golden parachute. And the golden parachute, what you was alluding to, Smith, is they get like this exorbitant amount package just to leave. Like your package might be like, all right, the company's not doing well. Well, we know you're not really doing much. It's not really your fault, but you're the face. We're gonna, blame it on you, but we're just going to give you a $50 million package just to be out. And then we're just going to put another face to the company.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they do.
Yeah.
Okay. But once
but like to the question, I just think that the idea of employee expectation to have a pay cut is predicated on the size of the company. It should never be predicated on, like, across the board, regardless of the size of the company.
And and with that though, guys, I think that they should start at the top.
Yeah.
Most times they start at the bottom cutting.
And most times exactly. Most times, like especially the larger companies.
That ain't most of the time. That's damn near all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, but hold up thing is
who's your overhead is at the top. Like start at the top.
This is true. But the whole thing is, who makes the decisions? Who runs the company? Who holds the most weight? Who has the most incentive for the company to do well? Because at the end of the day, when you look at your lower workers, your level 1 workers, let's say, right? They're just looking for a job to pay their bills. They don't give a fuck about the performance of the company. They're typically not the one that's motivated to perform and do well and be at work on time and put in, 150%. You can't say that, though. Typically,
but I'm just saying, like,
I've been at the low level in many companies and I've seen it.
So I've had, but what I'm saying is, if your job is, especially if your job is commission based,
if your job is commission based, we're not talking about commission. We're talking about like people that are either wage, typically wage earners,
stock shelves, clerks.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Like, are they really saying, "Oh, I'm gonna get as many shelves stocked as possible today," or are they like, "I just gotta get through this clock"? Let's be honest. And if pay is the way you want to go with it, all right, fine. Our government. Do you know anybody in our government making minimum wage?
No.
But no, you don't. But do you know anyone in our government not performing well? Go to any fucking post office.
Yeah, we got elected officials that don't perform.
I was just thinking about elected officials.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I could go to the higher ups of elected officials and how they've managed to not do much of anything, but they're conducting insider trading and getting inside deals.
You're right about that. But I'm just saying, when we're talking about the lower levels, when we say, "Oh, them getting paid means the fact that their performance is going to be great, or they're going to do better because they have benefits, because they have pay and this, that, and the other, and they get a fair deal," it's a crock of shit. We can see that in government, and government is the biggest monopoly there is. Government is the biggest monopoly there is.
But what I'm saying is, but the thing is, what Smith said earlier is, when you talk about adjusting pay, it's always at the lower level. It never starts at the top.
Yes, because the lower level is replaceable.
But when you really evaluate the upper level is replaceable too.
The upper level is replaceable too.
For a lot of companies,
it's harder to find somebody to replace.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a fallacy, bro. That's a fallacy.
Sometimes you're not going to get rid of your family members and your close friends.
Exactly. It's like it's a complete fallacy in regards to.
So you think I'm going to lose millions of dollars based off of friendships and family? Are you serious?
No, but what?
Are you really serious right now?
Go ahead, Smith.
Initially, I have somebody that doesn't work that. Yes, and I will lose this money because I thought that I could put you in this place, Black Zeus. I thought I could put you in here. You're a family member. I thought I could put you in this place at this absorbent amount of fucking money for your salary at 21 years old over all these other people that's been working with me for years. Boom. I thought you could do it. You didn't do it. Guess what? So I'm going to take you out of that position. You're going to work somewhere else in this establishment, in this business.
Exactly.
So let's say that.
When I let you go, I'm going to give you $5 million to take with you.
Okay. One, you have to show me a case of that. All right.
It was in the book. In the book, she talks about how a lot of the people in government was interchangeably going from government to private.
No. We're not talking about that part. I'm talking about the family part where you.
There's cases like that in New Jersey.
I mean, because here's the thing. Yes, do people, leave their company or their business to their family? Absolutely. I'm not. As a business owner, I'm not going to leave my company.
I'm not talking about leaving. I'm talking about have them work, and that.
I'm not going to give my son, a business
He's not talking about. You didn't create the business.
So we're talking about friends, or we talking about family members?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you think I'm just
talking about both. I'm talking about both, and I'm not talking about willing this to someone. I'm not talking about.
Yes, he's not. Okay, he's talking about an already established position, already established company.
Time out. So here's the thing: as a family member, or let's say my son, for instance, I'm going to try to groom him to be ready to move into my position or to.
And even if he's not fully groomed, he's still in that position.
Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. 9 out of 10 times, those family members typically are groomed. All right, Donald Trump has groomed his sons to take over his company.
Not a lot of times, bro. Because when you talk about the success rate of passing on businesses, there's a high failure rate in that.
There is a high failure rate, but here's the reason why there's a high failure rate. That is the upside down U-shaped curve. The problem is the fact of the person who started that business had all the passion, they had all the drive. It meant something to them. The person who is inheriting that business is just whatever. They don't have that passion and drive. But the person who tries to pass it on does tend to groom them by trying to send that kid to the best schools and the best this, that, and the other, and try to give them, knowledge of the business, this, that, and the other, because they want to keep that business thriving. Now, the whole thing is that person that comes in, such as Paris Hilton, does not have that type of drive for that business or the love for that business. The business goes under. It is a typical upside down U-shaped curve. You can read about it in the tipping point.
We can't pretend like we don't look out for our friends and family in the first place. Because Smith, even if you had somebody, one of your friends or whoever, in that higher position and they leave, and your first choice is gonna be to bring in somebody else who you know again. So I mean, whether they high up, even if my friend was the low worker down at the bottom, and I'm making cuts, I'm not cutting him.
But that's the problem. But that's the problem with nepotism.
That's what I'm saying.
Because that's the problem. Because
But that shit ain't never going nowhere.
It's not going anywhere. But what we're saying is, and what Black Zeus was talking about earlier in regards of, and I think you said that you made this remark in regards of these people are hard to replace. That's not true.
Yeah, that's what we said.
That's not true. When you're talking about large corporations, once again, we got to stick to the issue of this book, and we're talking about large corporations. We're not talking about your mom and pop business that you're starting from the ground. We're talking about large corporations. We're talking about large corporations that are already established and they're dominating the market. And what Smith was getting at,
we're talking about large corporations.
Correct.
You're correct.
So what Smith is getting at is these people are replaceable. There's a bunch of Harvard guys graduating with the brains. There's a bunch of MIT guys graduating with the brains. There's a bunch of, Yale guys graduating with the brains. They could replace these guys.
Time out. So you're telling me, You're telling me, here's the thing, Pratt, as a person who's in corporate America, you're telling me all you need is the brains. You don't need to have the connections.
No,
you don't need to have
the connections, but
you don't need to have years of experience.
You know what though, too, Brad?
You're telling me those things are easily replaceable.
No, we're not. I'm not basing it on just like, okay, the institution you graduate from, but this idea of this notion is like, oh my God, Jamie Dimon left. How this company, JP Morgan, that has been around for over 100 years, how's this company gonna thrive? Yeah, there's always somebody replaceable. I'm on these meeting calls all the time.
The people are replaceable. I'm not saying
Go ahead, Smith. Go ahead, brother.
You said the biggest monopoly was the government, right? So let's just talk about the White House and let's talk about the last administration. That press secretary was replaceable over and over and over and over and over again.
That's a good example.
I know.
Isn't it really? But what does the press? How does the press secretary make a huge impact on the overall company?
We're talking about having people in high position being replaceable. The press secretary is a high position.
They are replaceable.
So here's my thing.
That's what we're talking about. We're keeping it on that premise alone.
Everybody's replaceable, bro.
It's hard for me to.
Unless you Elon Musk, everybody's replaceable.
I'm not saying that no one is replaceable. It's just that the piece of that person in that executive position, you might find 10, maybe 20 of them. Versus the person who's packing boxes, you'll find 2,000 of them.
No one is talking about the low level entry position. We're talking about the high level.
But you're saying the reason they don't.
Because we're talking about
going back to the point that the fact that we said, why not cut the salaries of the higher ups? Because the higher ups are not as easily replaceable as the lower. Because
the lower that is not easily replaceable. It's perceived that's not easily replaceable. That's what
once again, you're telling me the numbers. You're telling me the numbers of the numbers of graduates that are ready to take on those positions are equal to the numbers of people stuffing boxes.
You know that.
What I'm saying
that's
is, unless you're the founder of...
Hold on. Answer my question. Is the number of people that's able to fill a box the same number of people that could sit in a high executive position?
I will never give that false equivalency.
That is my point. That is all my point is. I'm not saying they cannot be replaced.
But that's what I'm saying. What me and Smith is getting at is, we put people on such a pedestal. Unless you're the founder of the company, you're replaceable.
You're replaceable.
Period. You're replaceable.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs passed away. They put in Tim Cook.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos just stepped down. They put in, I forgot to do individual name.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. When they replace Steve Jobs, have you seen any innovations like Steve Jobs
was not an innovation. Steve Wozniak would tell you that Steve Jobs was not an innovator, and this book gets to it. Big companies, they don't innovate. Like, the iPhone, Apple didn't come up with the iPhone.
Hey, Cash, I didn't want you to get all into that yet.
Go ahead, brother.
The bigger companies, as you say, and talk about people being replaceable, all they do is take over the smaller companies.
Exactly.
They suck them up.
The
people that they want to use, and then the other people, they're replaceable.
So when they
suck up another company.
So when they go when they do the job cuts and they replace other people, they're not looking at the performance of the higher ups.
A lot of times, unless it's a huge scandal. A lot of times,
they say, okay, we lost this much money this year.
A lot of times
that it has to do with everybody.
What they'll do is this, and this happens a lot of times. They'll look at mid-tier management. They're like, all right, how many mid-tier management are out there and what their salaries are looking like? And then they'll like, all right, we'll take out the fat meat there, and then they'll definitely work their way down. What I'm presuming Smith is saying, which I agree with, and this is what I always had, and a lot of people, when you talk to them, people in the private sector have an issue with, you do not look at the executive levels. And the executive levels pay when they're approaching 3 figures, 4 figures percentage difference in pay, and how they're making this much money. And you're talking about, let's refine the package to help the benefits of the lower tier people. I'm looking like, bro, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But What about the big fat up
I think
top?
that they would. They do.
Yeah.
At some point, they do look at them. It's just they don't look at them first. Like you
Bruh,
look
they don't. They don't.
have
The
to
only
some-
time you get rid of them is when something like catastrophic, like a major
Yeah, I was
economic
about to say.
catastrophic
So you're
event.
saying that they?
Hey, Henry, they're not
You're
turning
saying
that
they gonna
mirror
look
on
at-
themselves. They're not turning that mirror on
So
themselves.
you saying they're gonna look at this dude, know that he's part of the reason why we're not making money, and never get rid of him ever?
No, well, this is what I'm saying. Unless it's a huge scandal with the company, like a
No,
Wells
scratch
Fargo.
the scandal. It's just like, yo, we're losing money. You're saying
If you're
they-
losing money, they don't. Like I just told you, in 2019, the company JP Morgan Chase was not doing well. They reported a bad annual review. Jamie Dimon still took in, for the second consecutive year, $33 million.
So now, hold on. So now, if Chase had the losses for 5 years straight,
Now,
you said 10 years straight, they're never gonna look at
They're gonna
Jamie
out
Dimon?
him. They're gonna just, he's gonna
But
leave
that's-
if the
but that's
company
what I'm
leaves.
saying.
But here's the thing, on the back end, he's given and this is a term that you got to get comfortable with, and Smith said it. He's given a golden parachute package deal.
Yeah.
well, let me ask you a question. Was he the cause of the 2019 loss?
It's like he's the face. You put all this
Was
onus
he the
on him.
cause? No.
Like,
I
he's the
asked
face.
you a direct question.
Look.
Was he the
Yeah.
cause?
See, like I'm looking at it like when you think about
Cause and the cause and who's in charge are two different
Yeah.
things. If the whole thing is,
But
if your coach,
if you pulling in
the
that
coach
type
of your team, if the coach of your team is a great coach, but yet, a team member fucked up and dropped the ball on the 99-yard and someone else scored a touchdown, causing you to lose the game, you fire the coach?
Yes.
that's what
No.
happens.
no,
What happened?
not
No.
the player.
No.
You have to-
My dude.
Nah,
Are you serious?
Bruh.
My
No.
dude, are you
So you
serious?
gonna fire the coach. So
You fired the coach. You fired the coach when you can.
So my man from come on, the Nets, Henry, what's his name?
Steve Nash,
No, the coach, the black coach that went to the
Jason Kidd?
that went to the finals twice and
Jason
fired
Kidd.
him. Yeah, what about the other black coach that did it too?
No,
Well,
Jason Kidd
Byron.
didn't make it to the Nets twice.
He made it one. He made it to the finals, and then he made it once too. Byron. They both got fired twice.
Yeah, but that was over time. That's not over.
Like him.
But that's what I'm saying. Over time,
That wasn't over time. It was 2 years? I go back to back, and because I don't win a championship against the Lakers, I get fired.
yeah. Well, you
And
give
for
that
the
nigga
Nets
2
have
years.
never been here ever in their life.
But that's what I'm saying, though. At some point, you have to look.
The coach is responsible in the NBA because
Yeah.
the player is worth more in the NBA.
But that's
We gotta
over.
talk about
But that's
what
over. That's over time, though. Just like I'm listening to the conversation. I'm thinking about, okay, compared to our
Okay,
situation, Smith.
so
when
using
you think
that
about,
example,
hold on, Shu. So you think
Sorry.
about the whole idea of like, okay, we was making job cuts this year. You start with the teachers, but now if you have bad test scores, there's only but so many years that the principal can keep saying, oh, well, it's the teachers. Oh, well, it's the vice principal. And then it's but so many times that the assistant superintendent can say, oh, well, it's not me, it's the principal. Like at some point, it's going to start at the first, okay, the teacher's the problem. Then maybe it's the vice principal.
But Henry,
Then
sometimes
it's the
it
principal,
don't
but at
last
some
that
point,
long.
it's going up.
Sometimes it don't last that long. I've been at whatchamacallit for 6 years, and I've had 5 principals.
That's
are you?
But that's you're right. So that's what I'm saying. At some
No,
point,
because you're saying sometimes they give them time. I've been at a school where I've had 5 principals in 6 years. What
But
time
I'm-
is that?
Smith, I'm saying that to say, like at some point they do start looking at the higher ups, where it's like, okay, y'all niggas ain't doing what y'all supposed to be doing. Like Smith, they're not turning over the teachers. They're turning over the higher ups because the higher ups are the one and saying, okay, so maybe maybe the principal's like mid-level. You got assistant superintendent and then superintendent right above them.
Unfortunately, during that time, each year we lost 10 teachers with the turnover rate.
Yeah, so but you get what I'm saying. At some point, they are gonna look up at the top. Now we don't get that golden parachute. That is the difference.
Hell no, you ain't
But every time that the principal didn't do what they did, didn't do what they supposed to do, that may not be the assistant superintendent. Maybe it is. Who knows? Maybe
the
that's why they switched them around.
But the golden parachute is the huge crux. for in the private sector that I have an issue with.
Well, guess
Like,
what?
why?
The parachute exists.
Hold on, why?
Superintendent. Well, let me just say this: when you're a superintendent, it exists. So all
oh,
those
it does. Okay.
that we had coming in, they were getting golden parachutes. When we had Cheney come in, golden parachute. The white lady, I forget her name.
Tammy Anderson.
Tammy, golden parachute. So
Yeah.
you do get them. When
They
you're
do get
on
'em.
that
Okay.
level, you get a golden parachute.
Yeah. So, and the reason why I have an issue with it, you just say it's based on performance. If everyone is being evaluated based on performance, how is it that you're being granted a golden parachute for performing poorly? Your corporation
here's the
performing
thing.
poorly.
Here's
Like,
the
you
thing.
can't give.
Well.
I will tell you
Yeah.
personally. I don't know how many leadership positions you've been in, but in leaderships that I've been in a number of leadership positions. And regardless if I made a good call, somebody else fucked up, it fucked up the team. All right. It fucked up the team because somebody else made that bad, or somebody else didn't carry their end of whatever the plan was. Somebody else didn't carry, didn't perform as well. Maybe they didn't, let's say we're talking about a major company where somebody didn't pack as many boxes as they should have been able to pack within a 8-hour day or whatever the case is, because they took too many lunch breaks, or too many bathroom breaks, or they're smoking and they're not coming back from lunch on time. All those things matter, and they add up. They become very cumulative when you're talking about operating in a large team. And the whole thing is the coach can come up with the best plan, but if the team is not executing it well, there's nothing the fucking coach can do. And
Okay, so how you're justifying a golden parachute?
If you've never been,
once again, I've been in a leadership role.
At the end of the day,
I'm trying to hear this golden parachute excuse.
Well, you know what? The coaches get the golden parachute too, because they get fired, but they still getting paid.
No, they still maintain their hold up. They maintain their contractual contract. I'm talking about a golden parachute that's not embedded in your contract, but yet because your departure, they're saying like, we're just gonna give you X amount of money to leave the company.
Well, the niggas.
Well, two reasons I could think of. A is the fact of, you know what? At the end of the day, no, I don't need two reasons. One reason. A is their company. They could do what the fuck they want. It's their money.
But it's not their company. They didn't found the company. This is, once again, we got to stick to the premise of the book.
Once again,
we're talking about these oligarch companies that have been founded for almost over a century, and they're dominating these industries. So you're talking about executive leaders that just filled in a shoe that was already there, and they're they're just being the face of the company.
I get what you're saying. CEOs, CFOs, an entire board. I get that. At the end of the day, as a group, it is their company. They make all the decisions on how the company will be run, what decision will be made, this, that, and the other. And at the end of the day, you know what? If you want somebody else to step in that position, with all the weight that it may come into, you might want to say, listen, don't worry about it. If something goes wrong, it's like worst case scenario, you get kicked out of this company. Here's a golden ship parachute. So someone else is like, okay, maybe it's not that bad. I'll step into that position. Because at the end of the day, the main reason why companies offer you benefits, the main reason why they offer you days off is to make the sweet up the pot for you to come take that job. If the job doesn't have any benefits, you're not taking it.
So let me say that someone that, because I just looked it up, and they got a platinum parachute too.
Oh, they have
They do.
So,
these parachutes are getting heavy.
So the golden parachute, they said part of it is so that executives
as long as it's not a golden shower.
No. So that the executives work for the best interests of the company rather than being preoccupied with their own financial security. And they also say that they do it to avoid like messy breakups as far as like the whole legal battle.
They do it to keep your mouth shut.
I just told you that.
You didn't say that, man. Look, man.
The whole
problem with here's the problem with go ahead.
There's got to be an incentive.
But the problem is you're being incentivized to leave the company. Period.
No, you're not being incentivized. To leave the company.
Are. You're just being incentivized to leave the company because at the end of the day, you did not perform well to the task. Hence, why you're given the golden parachute.
Okay, but you're being incentivized to leave the company without legal ramifications.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
for
but
them,
you're
so
not,
for the
but you're
company-
not, but you're not. But the reason why you're leaving is because you're not performing to the level of the
Cash, you
of
said-
the
You
role.
just said, Cash, you just said
But
that
you said what's the point of
person's
it,
just
though?
a face, so they're not performing at all. At the end of the day, if they're got to have their name blemished and destroyed, their reputation destroyed, there better be a golden parachute for me. Because if I can't get a job anywhere else, because you have now put my name out into the public as being the person that ruined the company, who else gonna hire
person
me?
who did the Oil Valdez?
Exactly.
Exactly. But
Hey,
if you willing to do that to the
lower,
lower tier person, why not do it to the higher exec?
Because the lower tier person can always find another fucking job.
But this is what I'm saying though. You can't.
The lower tier person
but the
can
thing
always
is,
find another fucking job.
Within this
the
book,
lower tier person's severance package is called unemployment.
exactly.
Yeah, it sure is. But
Okay.
that money,
That's their golden parachute
that's
right
their
there.
golden parachute.
Which
Yes, fucked up.
I
Which
mean,
what?
they,
Which
yeah,
what?
they get
Which
one
don't
too.
exist.
no, I'm not saying it
I don't
doesn't
agree with
exist.
that, but-
It's just that exactly, Smith. I don't agree with it.
I don't agree
It's
with
completely
See,
like, yo, someone who's
you're
been
co-
studying executive pay for quite a bit of time, bro.
Right.
It's there's a lot of unshady practices with that. And it's just like to hear the justification to say, okay, well, we could just screw over the lower tier folks all willy nilly and just let the executive run supreme and let them, leave the company in all sort of disorganization, and they're still given a golden or platinum parachute so they could still live their $1 million yacht life, and they haven't necessarily really impact the company whatsoever, is bogus.
But
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying emotionally.
It's not emotionally. It's even logically. It's just like it doesn't make any sense.
Ethically, I hear what you're saying.
They're paying to sweep it under the rug.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
All right,
So
we're gonna move on to the next question.
Ethically, I hear what you're saying, but at the end of the day, when it comes to business, it's eat or be eaten.
Well, the whole premise of the book is the being eaten part is being fixed to certain people being eaten.
Fixed.
Yeah, but who?
Like
but
there
tell
are
me,
the monopolies by
Yeah.
force don't really
It's like let's not pretend as though this is a fair game where and this is the premise of why I picked this book.
Let
It's
me
like,
ask
let's
you a
not
question.
pretend as though this is a fair game where
Yeah.
everyone has the ability to be sharks. Not
No,
everyone has the
I
ability.
hear you. But the whole thing is, we all do it though, dude. We all do it, even on the
We
lower
don't
level.
all do it. What are you
Yes,
talking
we do.
about? We
So
don't.
You are a landlord, right?
I want to hear.
I want to
right.
hear how you're gonna. Yeah, I'm
Let
a
me ask
landlord.
you a question. You're a landlord, right? The whole thing is, you get a bunch of contractors, right?
Mhm.
One contractor has a family, this, that, and the other, take care of, blah, blah, blah. This other contractor, is a single guy, X, Y, and Z. But the single guy gives you a better price. Are you going to go with the higher price
That's
in
a
order
false
to help
equivalence, bro.
No. I'm just
Yeah,
asking.
no,
I'm
that's
giving you,
not a good
I'm,
one.
No,
That's
no,
not a
I'm-
good- I don't
Hear me out. Hear me out.
I'm gonna go with the one with the best. Who
Price
has the
and
I'm
quality.
I don't go with the
The
cheapest
best
one.
service.
That's a false
Okay.
number two.
No, I said
all right.
best service, the best service, the best
The best
quality
service. I'm gonna go with the
Bottom line
one.
is- all right,
I'm gonna.
bottom
Well,
line
let me
is-
finish because you asked
all right.
the question.
But you
I'm
didn't let me
going-
finish my point. You didn't let me finish my point.
But
My
you
point
asked the
is-
question though.
But
You
the
didn't
question
ask,
wasn't
but you
complete.
asked the question.
The question wasn't complete.
All right, what's the question?
So the whole thing is, are you gonna go with the contractor? Are you gonna go with the contractor that you feel like, oh, this person needs my money more than the other, or are you gonna go with the contractor that best suits you?
I will always go with the contract that best suits the need of the job.
No, the best suits you.
No, I take my. See, here's the thing. I take my
the
emotions.
job-
I go for the job. What are you talking
But
the
about?
job
It's
is
the
for
super-
you.
Yo,
But wait, Black Zeus. When I'm looking for this job and this contractor, I'm looking for a contractor. I'm not looking for the contractor's family.
exactly.
I'm looking for the
But that's my
contractor.
point. That is my
I'm not
point.
looking
Is the
for
fact of
family.
that's my point. Is the fact of when these people are running their companies, they're looking out for their own best interest. They're not looking out for the employee's best interest. That's my basic point.
Oh yeah,
But
the whole
hold on.
thing-
But when we get into this book, they don't even look out for the best interest of their customers.
no,
Listen.
But this is what
that's
I'm
not the
saying.
argument that we're not talking about right now.
We'll
get to that. We'll get to that.
But what I'm
let's stick to
saying,
the argument we're talking about right now.
But it's
We're
just
talking
like
about the employee part.
But in regards to the employee, I'm like in regards to that conversation with the contractor, I do not look for contractors that best suit me. Like in the sense of like me personally. I look for the person who best suits the job, who's knowledgeable about the work that needs to be done.
But aren't you the boss of your company?
I'm the boss of my company, but at the same time, I'm not emotionally attached. I have to make the best situation for the job at task.
Exactly. So it's the same.
But that's not.
Thing
but
with
I don't
any other
emotionally
company.
like if I don't get along with a particular contractor, and like if I see a contractor and let's say he likes. And I'm not a big Cowboy fan or a Giants fan, but let's just say sports. I find out he's a Giants fan, and I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. I'm not going to say, yo, you're not getting the job because of my personal feelings for you. I'm going to say, yo, I got a furnace that needs to be fixed. What is your expertise? What is your recommendation?
Okay, so
what
is
quotes? And I'm going to give you, and I'm going to base it on those things. I don't base it on what
beef. What is your beef with somebody saying, you know what? I would rather cut the people at the bottom versus cut the people at the top. It's the same thing.
No,
it's the same.
No,
it's
no,
the same thing.
No. The beef. When we're 4 chapters into this book. The beef is basically we're looking at a few companies who are dominating these sectors.
Right.
The thing is, these are not companies founded in many occasions. These are not companies founded by its original founders. These are companies that are well established and that have had multiple executives. And the common thing that I'm seeing, and this book's touched on, and we're gonna jump into the next question, is the lower tier people. Yes, they're replaceable. I get that. I get entry levels are called entry levels for a reason. But there's never a huge magnifying glass at the executive level and what's going on at the executive level. And that's it.
That's the hush hush club, man.
That's the hush hush club. Because in all honesty, when you get around them, you realize you ain't that fucking bright, but you got this fucking position.
Yeah. And you keep your mouth shut so you can stay in that position.
And exactly. That's what it is, man. I've been around enough of these people where I realize, like, yo, I'm not saying that I could be one of those people to replace them, but I know quite a few other people. I'm like, you know what? So I just met so-and-so who has similar expertise, but for whatever network that this person is lacking, they just don't have that title. But
it's like United being in Houston. And if you got what was it, 90%,
yeah,
90% of the market, then you can make the price what you want the price to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this book, but you can make the price what you want the price to be because we didn't took over all this, So if you got your little Spirit airline, guess what? We can buy Spirit out at some point. They're doing that price planning and the price.
Yeah, and then it's just like if you don't necessarily have the funds to take over Spirit, you could just be in coordinates with Spirit to say like, yo, all right, as long as you don't underbid me, I won't underbid you.
Exactly. And then we got our duopoly going on.
Yeah, and we're just like the only people that's getting screwed is not just the employees, but the customers too.
The customers, yeah, we'll fuck the customers.
Well, we're just gonna tack on some bullshit baggage claim. But anyway, next question.
I'd be 100% okay sitting up in that top position, not knowing what the fuck I'm doing, getting paid, and then getting my golden parachute.
Yeah, because the one thing that I hate is a lot of times when these companies get into like a huge scandal, right? Then you have a Capitol hearing, right? And Smith, you and I talked about this, said this before in the past. They go to Capitol Hill, they get grilled by these senators. You know what's the common thing they all do? Well, I didn't know what was going on. Motherfucker, you are getting paid millions of dollars and you in Capitol Hill in front of these senators talking about you don't know what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
That's the bullshit. So if that's the case, you don't deserve that salary. No, you deserve the golden parachute that you're getting.
So you mean to tell me anyone that's in the head position of company knows exactly aspect of every part of the business?
But that's not the point. But the point is, if you're going to get paid that much high of a salary and you're not going to know every facet of the company, what the fuck are you getting that salary for?
You're getting that salary because no one else wants to deal with the stress of that position. That's just what it is, bro. Like, here's the reality.
You don't know the competition layout for that role.
And Cash, but part of it though, Cash, you got to remember, part of this is the I don't know effect, man. And that's all it is. They do know what's going on.
If you watch that Netflix documentary Money, and they got into Wells Fargo, that was some eye revealing shit.
Yeah,
let me ask you a question.
They know what's going on.
So you think that Trump sitting in as the president of the United States, the commander in chief who sends us out to war, knows, oh, guess what? our soldiers are only going out with a flight jacket that's not Teflon. That's going out with a porcelain flight jacket that if it gets hit, more than twice, that soldier's dead. You think he knows all those little details? You think he knows all the tactics of what a soldier has to do?
Well,
you think he knows what kind of weapon the soldier does?
The seat of the commander in chief. Which
you don't think they just know generals?
Well, let me answer this, because you're going on. Let me answer the question.
But you cut me off before I finish.
No,
my
but dog,
point.
you're giving me a bunch of metaphors. What I'm saying is, the commander in chief, the president of the United States, is not making 1,000% more money than the governor or the senator. There isn't this huge disparity in pay. There's
not. That's why I use the soldier. The soldier is not getting anywhere near the pay that the president's making.
Whether it's fair or not, man, it is what it is. People are looking out for the people who they like.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, whether it's fair or not. I mean, it don't matter what metaphors drawn up or whatever. Just like people are hiring people that they like.
I'm just saying that it's in all aspects of everything. That's all my point is. It's on all aspects of everything.
No one's denying.
The lower you are on the totem pole.
I've never denied that it doesn't exist in all aspects of life, but you got to evaluate the situation and and see if it makes sense.
I got you.
Particular situation,
yeah. That's all it is. Evaluate the situation. And like I said, what irritates me the most is a lot of times when you get these CEOs that get called into Capitol Hill to testify on behalf of their company, and they're raking all this $1 million, and every time they get interrogated about the functionality of their company, and they always relegate to a simple I don't know, essentially, then I'm looking like, yo, what the fuck are you getting paid all that money for?
Well, let me ask a question.
Like, you're saying you don't know practically every fucking question that's being asked of you.
But if they do know the answers to those questions, and they're found, let me ask you a question. If they do know that what the answers are, and they get found guilty of whatever thing that Capitol has brought them up on, what happens to them?
Nothing.
No jail time.
No jail time.
No
nothing. Unlike, unfortunately, the United States are not like Iran when the financial crisis happened. Bankers were getting arrested and CEOs were getting arrested. The United States, because of paid lobbyists on behalf of these corporations, these CEOs get protected. So, like, yeah, you could basically, you could be like DuPont and basically contaminate water in certain cities and shit. Knowingly, you're contaminating water in certain cities, and no one's getting arrested because you didn't line the pockets of government officials.
Interesting.
But next question.
Well,
with the dominance of a handful of companies in each sector, how do we view entrepreneurs now?
I'll go first because it's 10:44.
Oh Lord!
Yo, give us 15 minutes. Give us 15 minutes.
Got some work to do this week.
Give us to 11. Yeah,
we'll
get through one more question after this one. All right, go first.
Entrepreneur, you can't say it's suckers, but I don't know, man. It's just like the strongest survive, man. The only comparison I kept thinking about really going through this, and I don't know why I kept thinking about like the whole sports aspect, where you got all these niggas who got issues with these players forming these super teams. And it's like, yo, now nobody else gonna be able to win. But like, yo, this is what these niggas are doing. Like, we gonna create, whatever conglomerate to where like the little dude is being hurt. I don't know. Do you really feel like it affects the smaller entrepreneur though? Like when you think about all of these monopolies.
Hell fucking yeah.
But when you think about like Amazon, okay, that's like a monopoly. But like the average monopoly or duopoly, are they really taking like Schubert, do you feel like you're being like money is being taken out of your pocket because the big gyms are really, affecting, like stealing your customers? You know what I mean? Like, I don't really feel like the everyday entrepreneur is being.
The reality is the fact of the bigger guys are going to, they're gonna make competition real stiff. They're gonna make it really hard. So it's like if there's a Planet Fitness, let's say. So would you rather come see me for $100, $200 a month, or would you rather go to Planet Fitness for doing it for $10 a month?
$10.95.
You know what I mean? So the whole thing is
That's
like,
two different things, though, Shu, because you get
no, it's not two other
services.
things. It's no, but the whole thing is like, that's the thing, is the fact of with any business, you have to make a difference between your business and someone else's business. And it's going to have an effect. At the end of the day, it's going to have an effect. I mean, that's just the reality of it all.
See, it's different though, and that it's a shoe, because if they were offering me personal training for $10 a month, then I'm going to do it. Like Amazon is offering the same exact product, but it's here's the thing: they can do that because they can say, you know what, Kel, we're going to offer you personal training for $10 a month, this, that, and the other, and they can do that for a while, long enough that they're going to be in the negative to run me out of business. And now when I'm not there anymore, they could be like, oh, Kel, you know what? There's no other competition around. Now it's, it's $100. They could, Schubert, but they don't.
That's how it typically goes, dude. That's how it does typically go. That's how Walmart runs out other small companies. It's kind of interesting to me how they were talking about Costco in the fourth chapter about like how great it is with its employees, but they're not thinking, well, when a Costco moves into an area, all the small businesses that have electronics, that have clothes, that have, school supplies or office supplies or food, they all can't compete with that Costco that's right there. And now that they got a gas station, it's like the line for the gas stations around the corner. So gas stations around there are now
I didn't even know Costco sold cars, bruh.
Yeah, man. Like they're because
But what it was saying though too is that, and they do that. I think I'm still leaning with Kel as far as your business and the Planet Fitness, because Planet Fitness, you can offer something that Planet Fitness can't necessarily offer. They can say that they can offer it, you know what I mean? But if they're not holding up to their end, then they won't hold. They won't hold.
Yeah, and they not offering the little boutique, small class size. I don't got to worry about.
They were saying that Walmart actually does the study, and Walmart will look at, let's go to a town where we only can put one Walmart. You can't put another Walmart here. And then that Walmart eats up all of the smaller businesses because, as you said, the price point. I can sell this Seagram's gin for 33 cents. You have to sell yours for 99. You know what I mean?
And the pencil is a pencil, bro. I'm selling the same exact pencil that you selling, but I'm selling that shit for cheaper.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
But as a person who's in the business, the whole thing is, it's a hard sell to get people to understand the difference in the value of your services versus like the 1099 gym. The whole thing is, to someone who understands the difference, of like education, the experience, the entire thing, that's one thing. But most people don't think that way.
Exactly. Because I was about to say the exact same thing. It's just like every one of these large franchise gyms have a group of set personal trainers. Every one of these gyms. And like
9 out of 10, those trainers are not even certified or have.
They're not even certified
to justify the price that they're charging. They're better salesmen than they are trainers.
Yeah.
But that's where that's where the big Walmart and all the monopolies come in. I'm offering you the same service, but at a cheaper rate or at an easier cost. So, like you're right, Shoot, the people who's gonna be drawn towards your type of gym, they can't be swayed. Now, if the Planet Fitness offers the same exact experience, okay, cool. So we got the big Planet Fitness, but then we're also going to offer a boutique Planet Fitness that offers a 5:30 a.m. class. It's only going to be about 6 people there. We're going to give you one-on-one training. Then I might say, okay, well, damn, Shoot, I don't know what the fuck to tell you, bro. You charging me 100. I could get the same exact thing over here for 10 or 15.
But here's the thing. If they felt like I was a threat to eliminate me, they would do that.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. No, but what I'm saying is,
I have worked in those gyms. I have set up those programs.
Keep it in the book, because Anheuser-Busch did that, and Modelo did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you keep it in the book, they tried that. So they said, okay, we're going to buy this beer and we're going to drop our price. Coors and Miller drop their price. And Anheuser-Busch said, "Oh, you want to play that game? We'll drop our price, motherfucker."
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying.
Wait. We're going to put our price back here. This is the games that they play. What did they call it? Tit for tat. That's
tit
what
for tat. Yeah.
But that's
some kid shit. I said tit for tat. Mm-hmm. I know what that is.
But that goes back to my original point. Whether they feel like they're not competitors or whatever, I don't feel like the smaller businesses are really feeling it like that. I mean, across the board, like Shiva, I get what you're saying. If they feel like you were a threat, then they could do that, but they're not, because it's like, okay, well, we're getting our big piece of the pie, so you can still get the piece that you're getting, and we're not really bumping
That's
heads.
Because
a lot of times
the bigger market right here. That's all.
Yeah, a lot of times you don't even have to be a threat. They could just see if you're being a lucrative business in their area. So, like, if I see Fitness 365 popping, I'm gonna be like, yo, let's tap into this market. And now you're offering a much more competitive rate, a bigger facility, and like the thing is, you know, what I noticed, like what Shu is, the reason why I would gravitate to a Shu because I personally know him. Like, and that's the thing. It's just like that personal experience. But like what Shu was saying, these small entrepreneurs, you know, not everyone has that luxury of building that reputation. So like you go to the bigger.
I'll give you a prime example. I'll give you a prime example.
Say that, would you sell out though? Because in a sense, you're talking about a sellout too. Because you're saying you wouldn't be competitive, they could buy you out, but they can also bring you in. You know what I mean? And now you could be the personal trainer at their smaller boutique. Like,
but he lost his own individuality.
No, I know that, but that's what I said. Is will he be willing to be a sellout? That was what I led with. Sellout. That's what.
Damn, why you got to use sellout? Can we use a better word?
And he repeated it like 5 times. Sellout.
Yeah, use a sellout, brother.
No, like he just keep.
He kept using that word.
Here's the thing.
It stings a little bit, Smith. Go ahead, Max Suze.
Here's the thing. There's a thing in war is that, you know, where either you could become one of us or we can destroy you, you know? So, you know, and the whole thing is Genghis Khan used to do that. All right. That's how he built up his army. It was the fact of he would, you know, say, okay, you can either join us because I see that you're a good soldier and that you put up a good battle, you know, or we can kill you. And, you know, and that's how he built up his army. And if you were just a coward, oh man, they used to castrate you if you was a coward, you know. So, but anyway, that's a whole nother different thing. But the reality is, it's like, listen, if the whole thing is, it's like real talk. It's like, if a Planet Fitness, a New York Sports Club comes and says, listen, we're right up the block from you. We are, you know, doing business, this, that, and the other. We see that you got a good business and we'd like to bring you on as such and such and such, you know, and they're offering me a good, you know, buyout. I would have to take it because I can't afford to go to war with them.
Bingo.
Not because I don't want to keep my business, but because I couldn't afford to go to war with them. The losses would be too great. At the end of the day, I would be if I go to war with them, I'm left with nothing versus joining them and having something.
Yeah.
And like what you might even admit, even your most loyal customer might look at the advertisement deals of your competitor and say, like, look, Shu, I just saw this goddamn flyer that say X, Y, and Z on my car. Could you match that?
Exactly.
And Shu might be like, yo, I can't match that because I got overhead myself.
Exactly.
I can't match that.
Yeah.
I remember, I'll give you a prime example.
Right on out of
when Powerhouse Gym in Bloomfield, on Bloomfield Avenue, was first opening up and they were really popping. Signature Gym had opened up in Belleville. They were competitive with one another because, you know, those are the two popular gyms in the area. That was back when gym memberships was like $60 a month, $75 a month, way before this $10 a month stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Signature got so dirty. They put a billboard right outside of, right across from, at that gas station, right by Powerhouse, that says Signature Gym, sign up, $1 a month. All right. It was a $1 sign up. All right across from Powerhouse. So it's just like, how dirty is that shit? You know what I mean? And that's between two big companies. Talk about tit for tat.
Yeah, and that's and they know even doing that $1 sign up, most people that go to the gym, you have your diehards and you have your you're just going to get some money right now. So I'm coming to sign up, but I'm never actually coming to this gym.
Yeah,
But
and that's the thing.
$1 sounds like a good deal.
Facts.
It sounds like a good deal, but
Black Zeus gym because he's saying starting at 2, so I'm going to go to here and sign up, even though I'm never going to go.
And here's the other thing: is the fact that you also got to understand. It's like when you sign up to a Planet Fitness or a Planet Fitness, whatever, they're like
it's Crunch Verona now.
They know the fact of you are okay with losing $10 a month. You'll let that membership slide, never go, and I'll go next week, next month, this, that, just to have that membership for $10 a month. At my price mark, at bare minimum, $100 a month, you're not letting that shit slide. You'll cancel that shit in a heartbeat when you realize you're not going. So how am I supposed to compete with $10 a month?
6 months, 3 to 6 months, I'm canceling.
Yeah. Exactly.
If I don't do it in 3 months, by the time I'm realizing, wait, I just use $600, I don't even go to this gym no more. Wait, we cancel this.
Exactly.
But $10 is like Netflix. Even if you don't watch it, you know you have it.
You still having it. You still have Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus.
And people probably did the automatic charge, so the $10 just come off anyway. They don't
even pay attention to it.
There you go. So
are we saying that we're seeing the death of entrepreneurs?
Basically.
No.
I don't think so.
No,
I think Black Zeus gave a compelling argument.
I'm on the battle line. I know what I'm talking about on this one.
You know what though? I don't think so.
You have the entrepreneurs, and what happens is the bigger companies try to suck them in.
Yeah,
that's what. But you'll still have your entrepreneurs. You know, you'll still have those things.
You still gonna have them in the restaurants. You're gonna have them in the clubs.
Do you know how many restaurants open and close all the time? Walk around Montclair.
And clubs.
Same thing. Red Cheetah, the Peruvian restaurant, like all those things. They open and close all the time. All the time.
Even like as small as something like plumbing and electricians. Like
you ever seen McDonald's close? I'll wait.
No, McDonald's is different.
Nah.
It's a restaurant, is it not?
That's a fast food restaurant.
It's a restaurant.
Hold up. First of all, he's right. McDonald's is not different, and McDonald's don't close unless they're
outperforming.
Or no, they don't outperform. McDonald's don't outperform. What are you talking about?
No, I say if they're not performing, they might close if they find that area is not performing.
When have you ever seen that happen, though?
That's what I'm saying.
Rare.
Yeah,
it's rare.
I've never seen a closed McDonald's.
We're not talking about Burger King.
We're not talking about Taco Bell.
Okay, you're right. All right.
Okay.
All right, we're talking about McDonald's.
They don't close McDonald's. I've never seen a McDonald's close in my lifetime.
No, you're right. I haven't seen one either.
Seen them renovate it. I have seen them make it bigger. I've seen all of that, but I've never seen them actually close a McDonald's.
But they're not a monopoly, though. They compete with a whole bunch of other.
They are considered.
They're
part of an oligarchy, though.
Yeah.
Wait. Is it oligarchy or the opology? The opology. Wait.
There's another one. I think I was talking about.
Oh, you're talking about no. So the whole thing is the oligarchy is when you're the seller, meaning the fact that that's when you're giving the business. The monopoly. The other one is when you're the hirer, you're the buyer, you're the only person.
It's like
who's hiring.
She said it
that's
so many times.
One.
Yeah,
that's the one where you're talking about when you're the only one hiring. But we're talking about right now selling.
The oligopoly.
The oligopoly, yes. That's when you're the one who's hiring.
Yeah. No, that's the one where you got like 4 of your people, though. You got like 4 of us that's competing. The monopoly is 1 of us. The duopoly is 2 of us.
2 of us.
And the Oli, we got like 4 of us.
4 of us, yeah.
We got McDonald's, Burger King,
KFC.
Nope, that's not in there.
That's not in there?
Because you got to remember, burger spots, you only got McDonald's and Burger King.
Oh, okay.
Consider Checkers in there.
Wendy's.
Wendy's.
So that's the market. Everybody else, remember, you have your fried chicken, you got your Popeyes and your KFC. Mm-hmm. And what they'll try to do is do something that's not supposed to be on a chicken menu, but that's the same thing that the burger place do. They'll do something that's not supposed to be on a burger menu. So they'll try to get into that little bit, but that's not their lane. So if you really want in an avenue of chicken, you're talking about Popeyes, you're talking about Churches if you're down south, you're talking about Roy Rogers if you're Midwest, you're talking about your KFC. Again,
but at the end of the day,
No,
those are not going out of business versus the small restaurants.
No, but what I'm saying is most of these you only have 4. You only have 4. That's that oligopoly thing. You only have 4 of these. You know what I mean? And that in itself still says, like Cass said, hey, look, you all can sell it this rate. I'll sell it this rate. You sell it this rate. You sell it this rate. That's still making that. It's the false thing of it's the myth of capitalism. You think you have choices, but you don't have choices. That's what we were talking about in these first 4 chapters.
Yeah,
we think we have choices, but we don't have choices. You know what I mean? Because,
even but the question, like with the entrepreneurs, man, and I agree with you, because even on like being a plumber, I'm like, oh, you could just be your own plumber, and then you realize even how that whole industry works, and like KB Electric runs practically all of Verona, Montclair, and Bloomfield. I see their signs, and if you're trying to get an electrician job, you're better off going to KB Electric than being your own electrician and being your own entrepreneur, just because at the end of the day, KB Electric is giving discount deals, and if you're trying to start off, and if you're trying to start off as an entrepreneur, you're not in the luxury of giving discount deals and special offers. You could try to do
contractor. Jack Finn runs everything in that area. If you're a contractor,
I think that's the only business that you might still be able to do good. Because you were saying the plumbing, the only other people they got like outside of that, the big one is the Roto-Rooter.
Yeah, they're big.
You know what I mean? They have that big one. But like we said, when that thing happened in Texas, they couldn't find anything. Enough. You know what I mean? They couldn't find enough. And Roto-Rooter couldn't even cut it. I don't even know if they have Roto-Rooter out there.
So is it only a small niche of entrepreneurs that could survive this wave of monopolies?
Right now, probably.
And what are those industries you think it is?
The blue-collar industries.
So think about it. We were talking about burgers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do some burgers. We were talking about you basically got 4 burger spots. But guess what? Now you have Smash Burger, right?
Five Guys. I love this.
Five Guys. So you have these entrepreneur people that's coming with this mind to make something into what could be a monopoly.
But here's the problem with that, right? I hear what you're saying, but that doesn't work either, because if you looked at Smash Burger when they first started and the quality of their burgers when they first started and now what they're at now,
it dropped down. It's crap. You know when that happens, Drew? When they went public and released a stock, they released their IPO, their quality dropped tremendously. Same thing with Chipotle. Soon as Chipotle became a public company, they got to listen to shareholders. The quality of food has been horrendous. It's just like,
But that's what happens when you try to mass produce things.
No, that's the thing. It's the fact of
small. You know what I mean?
So that's the thing. It's like there's no real entrepreneurship. Like I said, it still becomes part of the oligopoly. You know,
in Maplewood, Montclair.
What's that?
You got cornbread by you?
Cornbread, like as a store? Is it a store called Cornbread? I've never heard of them.
Never heard of them.
Cornbread Farm and Soul. Cornbread Farm to Soul.
I can ask my wife. I don't think I've ever heard. I've never seen it.
You all aren't in that part. You got to go up South Florence. Then it's a little more up South Florence. They got one that they just opened up, and they got one in PA.
Okay.
And I haven't tried the one in North, but I have gone to the one up in South Florence, and that's what I'm thinking. Like as these places get bigger, and you can't necessarily be the cook in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. So love is not the same, as you all are saying. I'm not going to put into your business what you would put into your business. Those food things are changing. You know what I mean? But you still have that entrepreneurial spirit where I'll start with this. I might sell later. You know, at the end of the day, if I wanted to have a burger business, started my burger business, and somebody want to come in and buy my burger business, and I'm like, well, I just wanted the idea of the business to, make some money. And I'm at this point, I don't want to be flipping burgers for 25 years. I'm going to sell. You know what I mean? Like that might be the common sense thing to do and say, okay, you know what? Now I want to get into the business of flipping businesses. So I come up with these ideas for businesses, put them in the market, and then sell it to the bigger companies.
They do it all the time.
They do it.
Yeah, that's what people do all the time. That's what I'm saying.
That's what
but the thing is,
do all the time.
Like what she was saying, it's just like it gets to the point is like how many burger spots could you have at this point?
Well, that's why I said let's deal with that. How many do you have?
But yeah, like I'm just like it gets to the point where it's just like as someone who likes to make burgers, do you?
But guess what?
Do you get to the point where you just like I don't even want to attempt because there's like several different burger chains out
Oh
here.
yeah, right now. Oh yeah. So right now the burger market is probably done. You probably wouldn't do the burger market.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
The hot dog market is probably not done.
Who's doing Nathan's, bruh?
So for instance,
Yeah,
right,
like,
over by me,
probably not done.
over by me, there's a place called Junior's Cheesecake and Steaks. All right. Now, I got to admit,
You live in New York?
no,
Yes.
not that Junior's.
Oh,
I was about to say there's
Not
a
Junior's.
Junior's.
There's Junior's
really?
Restaurant.
Oh, that's on Bloomfield Ave.
Yes, there's
Yes.
Junior's Restaurant
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
in
yeah,
Brooklyn,
Yeah.
my hometown. I know what you're talking about. Born and raised. All right. There's Junior's Restaurant, which, born and raised, that's different.
Got you.
But we're talking about Junior's Cheesesteaks and shakes.
Yeah.
They specialize in cheesesteak sandwiches and milkshakes. And the whole thing is, I gotta say, their cheesesteaks are banging. They have, like, I don't know how many times I've called and they be like, yo, we don't have any more food left in the place.
Wow.
Like, they have run out of stock. Now, the whole thing is, that is something new, that is something different, and if their shit pops off, they might grow, expand, open up 2 more places, 3 more places, and then next thing you know, they become, and once they become too big, guess what? Like, like it said before, they become like King Kong. You know what I mean? They become too big for their own good. There's another place around me called Guac Spot. There's a Guac Spot and a empanada lady. All right. I just went to Guac Spot yesterday. They have like these amazing lime shrimp tacos and jerk chicken tacos and old beef taco and this, that, and the other. They have great food there. But once they grow past that mom and pop shop,
yeah,
the service, the food, all of that shit goes downhill.
And guess what? It's not even growing past the mom and pop shop at this point, because I noticed that with when I went out to Philly and got some cheesesteaks.
Right.
If your business becomes commercialized or gets commercial success, somehow that does something to it also, because now you got a line around the corner and you're trying to speed it up. And now,
oh, you mean like Nino's and Gino's?
With Gino,
I've been there.
Like, yo, that's not the steak, but if I go like 4 blocks up and 5 blocks down, I'm at that real cheesesteak spot. You know what I mean? That will never get sucked up, because the community is only going to eat at that cheesesteak spot, because they know that's where you get it from. You don't go to the tourist spot.
You know what? You just raised an interesting question, and I don't think neither one of us posed this question. How much of this is the ownership is based on the community to like stay loyal to said business that's in there and not let a monopoly eat it up?
I was hoping that the book was going to get to that point. That's why
it could be.
Thought of that.
We don't know yet.
Yeah, I thought of that, but the whole thing is, I was like, well, we haven't gotten to any point in the book like that yet, so I was going to ask a question like that.
Yeah,
it could be, but
it's a big thing. It's definitely a big thing, because like, here's the thing: we all know, Top's Diner in Newark.
That spot is banging.
All right,
it's a line,
Top's
but it's bang. Yeah.
Let Top's Diner go from being a mom and pops.
They're expanding it. They're making it bigger. They're building a new one because they made so much money. They're making a new one so they can knock down the old one.
I didn't know that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But they're not doing other locations. They're just making their spot bigger. See, that I like that though.
They're just making it bigger.
Yeah.
Because they were doing so much business, you pretty much always got to be in the line in there.
Yeah, it was always a line, bro. Always a line.
There's always a 45-minute or more wait.
But they know if they expand it, you're not getting them kind of 12-layer cakes and all that. You're not getting all that. You're not. That's going to fall off. It's going to fall off. You know. I think if you got it all depends on your community as well. If you are in an impoverished community, and yes, I want to support the local stores, you said. But you got to remember, if I'm on a fixed income or a fixed budget or whatever the case may be, if you're selling me a potato at $1.99 and I can get a bag of potatoes for 99 cents, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, now understand, I'm still going to come to you, because most bodegas in our communities make about $800,000 a year annually. I did homework on that. That was 2 years ago, though. So it could be more. And that's what, family first cards. So if you go and get, let's say you wanted to go get some bacon from a bodega, And I'm not talking about going to the back counter. I'm talking about getting the packaged bacon that you would buy. Let's say you would buy it in ShopRite or something. That bacon is going to be like damn near $10, but because you're doing it with a family's first card, you're not necessarily concerned about the amount that you're spending.
Exactly.
Right? When you're spending cash, you're a little more.
When it's money out your own pocket.
Yeah, you're a little more
frugal.
So then
you're a little bit more frugal.
So
you're a little bit more economical.
Exactly.
A little bit more economical.
Trying to be wise with your money. So then, do people then have a right to cry about small businesses failing when we're not identifying the problems of monopolies and we're aiding to the monopolies existence by not supporting those smaller businesses?
No, people can't cry boo-hoo. But at the same token, no, you know what? It's a catch-22. Because being real is the fact of like Smith said, if you're on a fixed budget and you only have but so much, the corner store bodega has to charge $10 because they have their overhead, they have their costs, this, that, and the other, and they can't get the supplies in the large bulk amount that a Costco can.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So the whole thing is that it makes it almost impossible to compete. You got people that are on limited budget, and then you got retailers that are on a limited supply versus like this big, Costco, Walmart, Amazon that has endless supply.
Yeah. And you got, they just put this new commercial out for Aldi. I don't know if you all are familiar with Aldi.
The supermarket?
Yeah. And the girl was saying, she wanted some like organic vegetables, and she was like, well, where do you get your stuff from? And she's like, I go here. And she's like, they sell organic vegetables? And it's like, yeah, they sell. She was like, yeah, they sell organic vegetables. And she made her something, and it's a commercial. And the girl loved it. It was like, oh, I'm going to start shopping there. And it's like, yeah. So why would I go to Whole Foods for the name of Whole Foods and pay $5 for an orange, and I can go to Aldi and get an organic orange and probably get free for $3 or some shit, like $1.
Hey, listen. I love my Sumu. I love my Sumu oranges from Whole Foods. Don't you be talking about my Sumu oranges? That shit is the best, man.
But the thing is, Whole Foods all right. Amazon owns Whole Foods.
But see, that's the so. I'm glad you said that, Cash, because the one thing that, the misconception of that, the whole myth of capitalism is that you think that you have choices. And when she started talking about the bacon and said, you got all these kind of brands of bacon, and she's like, but when you look at it, Smithfield owns all these brands.
Yep. That blew my mind too. I was like, holy shit.
I mean, does that surprise you? It's like Procter.
No,
it's like what do you?
It doesn't surprise you, but when you put it in context, you're just like.
I just bought some bacon the other day, and I was in the store, and I saw the Smithfield brand and a guy shells and all, and it hit home.
Hit home. You're just like, oh shit! Like you're just like, oh okay.
Because the whole thing is, I'm like, I thought we all came to the realization that. Well, I came to the realization that back in the 11th grade when somebody said it doesn't matter where you pick Crest or Colgate or Aquafresh, they're all Procter and Gamble.
Yeah.
It was when they was trying to get they was talking about the when they brought Heinz.
Yeah, Kraft and Heinz.
Kraft and Heinz.
Was it Heinz what?
Kraft
Heinz.
Kraft
and
Heinz.
They were trying to buy Unilever.
Yeah.
Crest, soap, all that, and it was like it was going to be Kraft Heinz Unilever. But Unilever was like, nah, we're not going to sell,
No, we're not doing that.
Procter and Gamble, we ain't going to sell it, basically. We're not going to sell. But it's like, these companies, so people think that they have choices when you think that you're buying one thing. But when you're buying, you're still buying from my company. I just put different names on all these brands, and I still own all this.
It's kind of like whether you're shopping Gap, Banana Republic, or Old Navy. Same company.
Same company.
Whether you're shopping Nissan or Infinity, Toyota or Lexus,
same company.
Honda or what's the other company that they own? I forget. I forget what Honda owns, but you get the point. It's the fact that everyone does it,
and the rich just get richer. Because I do get that point. I'm going to
but here's the thing: to what Smith is getting at, though. And when you was talking about the bacon aspect of it, a lot of people, like, I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked by that particular concept too. I don't think a lot of people understand how few companies own the sector, everything.
Basically, yeah.
I think, like, shoot, you're an exceptional bright dude, bro. So, like, you don't count. Like, it's just like, it's the truth. It's just like, I think honestly, when they talked about the cable industry and stuff like that, like how you just don't have a choice in that.
You don't have a choice.
Honestly, I just don't see how people don't see it though. Yeah. It's like,
because like, you know what? I think it's been a great. Here's the thing, and I'm going to get political.
I like the insurance part. If you want to talk about, put the insurance part in there. I like that insurance part too.
Yeah, the insurance part was interesting. Here's the thing. I think the problem is, you had a party, which is the Republican Party, for a very long time until this day. Their base is on capitalism. And I'm not anti-capitalism, and the authors of the books are not anti-capitalism. They're just pointing out.
They're just talking about capitalism in its truest form.
In its truest form, correct. The problem is, I don't think these subject matters get addressed to the point in which people realize they don't have choices. I think a lot of times people are given the illusion of choice, but they don't realize how they don't have those choices. I think the illusion of choice has been very propagated because I've always heard Democrats, they've always been like the Socialist Party. So like I've always knew, this is how, because of a podcast I listened to, this is how I stumbled across this book. They've always been the party of saying like, yo, capitalism is wrong. So I was like, you know what? I'm not an anti-capitalist. So it's just like, I need to find a book in the middle. But the Republican Party has always been a party of like capitalism, always work, always thrive. So you're under the illusion like, okay, if I could, if I'm an entrepreneur, I could be in this business, I could be all that I can be. And I just think that the illusion of capitalism gets sold in such a way that you have these choices when you don't. I don't think people ever get.
Look at this illusion of it, right? So, Newark Airport, JFK LaGuardia, and Philly Airport. I want to go fly somewhere. I'm looking for tickets, and I'm seeing tickets, and basically, I'm trying to find an airline that's going to give me a nice cheap flight out, right?
Yep.
But I noticed that the only airline that's going to give me a cheap flight is United. Now I notice that the only airline that's going to give me a cheap flight out of any of these airports is United, because United is the only one that's running
all the airports. Mm-hmm.
This is the choice that I have, though. The choice I have is, if I leave from Newark, it's one price. If I leave from LaGuardia, it's another. If I leave from JFK, it's another. And if I leave from the cheapest place, is Philadelphia.
Yeah. But now you're
45 an hour.
Exactly. Now you're burdened with the inconvenience of having to do that.
Or or even the inconvenience of having to go to catch a cab or something to LaGuardia, or you know what I mean, or get somebody, hey Cash, could you drop me off at 5 a.m?
Right, because I've done that with Henry a lot of times. I'm like, bro, you going where? Jesus Christ, I got to get up.
Why you ain't just fly from Newark? Because it was $200 cheaper.
$200 cheaper, and that's your homie. You're just like, fuck. I'm like, all right, bro, I'm gonna do you this favor, but shit.
And that was the thing. What I was going on a flight before, and somebody was like, "I don't think I'm able to take you." And I did the math on public transportation. I wasn't going to save that $200
because of the burdensome of having to travel out there to catch that flight. It's just like, yo, I'd rather spend the extra $50
and leave right from here.
And just leave right from here. But then,
y'all talking about like how much it costs to fly out from one place versus the other?
Yeah.
Me and the homie, we actually drove out from Jersey down to Baltimore to Maryland to catch a flight out to Florida to save a couple $100.
Now, was it worth it?
Exactly what we talking.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Yeah, because we were talking about like, in order to like,
because between the two of us,
between
the two of us saving a couple $100, it was like, that's $100 we could be spending while we're down to South Beach,
Yeah,
So it
But
was
now
worth
you
it.
have the burden of inconvenience of having to do that now.
This is the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have to leave, like, in the middle of the night to go take that drive down there and, put gas in the car. But you know what? For us, it was worth it.
Yeah, you extended your trip, but it was different because it's like it's a road trip /
Yeah, road trip / flight, and South Beach was definitely worth it.
Yeah,
South
exactly.
Beach was definitely worth it.
But man, I think a lot of people, and like granted, we probably revisit this question later at some, towards the end of the book. I think a lot of people don't realize the limited choices that they have. I'm not gonna lie, there were certain things that I learned new. I thought I knew some things. I was like, damn, this is yeah, this is new.